Okay, we're live. This is just a test, guys. If anybody pops in here, hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, we get the microphone working. Hello. Hey, Rob Riley, what's going on? Rob, I'm just testing out some stuff here. Okay, you can hear me? Hey, from Russia, what's going on? Sounds good. Test streams are fun. Yeah, they're my favorite. Andy, what's happening? Unity Motorsports. All right, hang on. I'll tell you. Zero. All right, wait. I'll tell you what. Let me turn on a couple. The lighting's really weird here. Hang on 1 second, okay? Is that better? All right, it is better. All right. I totally wasn't expecting to go live. I just picked up this laptop over here, and I wanted to make sure that everything was going to work. Fubar's in the house. Charlie Roma. Man, you guys just flood right in. I totally wasn't expecting. I figured maybe one or two guys would pop in. I need a cigar and a glass of brandy. Yeah. It's an internal combustion mic. Well, okay, right now, I don't even know what microphone I'm on. Like, I'm not on this mic because I don't see. How is the sound? Is the sound okay? Okay, nobody knows the sound. Don't do that mic. I don't know what mic I'm working off of right now. Yeah, no. This one's been working fine, loud and clear. Okay. No, I'm not on the mic I was tapping. That's okay. That's okay. As long as we got mic. All right. So we'll hang out for a little while. I totally, absolutely was not expecting to go live. I just picked up this laptop over here, and I'm trying to get things reconfigured because the old one took a dump like halfway through the live last week. So I only just jump in here real quick and see if it works. And I was not expecting all of you guys to pop in here. John, you would have studied if you knew it was going to be a test. Yeah, Mike, boomer using technology. I know, that's exactly what this is. Boss, don't hit that mic. It went full after. Okay. Well, so I mean, are you hearing me off this mic? Are you hearing me off of this? Oh, yeah, I guess you are. Okay. James Matthew, is there a freeze plug on the back of the cylinder? Yes, there is a big freeze plug at the back of the cylinder head. Yes. Okay, so everything's working. So we have camera working, right? And it's working off of that camera. Okay, because I have two cameras going on here. And yes, and that mic is working. Woo-wee, we found success. All right, I'll hang out for a few minutes. And I really got to get something to eat. I'm starving. I got to get some. I got some Cold War motor stickers, Dr. Art. And now I'm really quiet. Now you're talking really quiet. Okay, so let's move this over a little bit more. I got. Okay. All right. Rotate the microphone back towards me. There we go. Oh yeah, now we're cooking, right? Went dull again. All right, but the picture looks okay, right? Any lags or any weirdness or anything like that? Okay. James Matthew, Kiwi sent me your way to answer on the freeze plug question. Well, here we go. That's it. Yeah, there's one big freeze plug at the back of the cylinder head. All right. War Ghost wants to talk about conspiracies for a bit. Any updates on the currency life cycle? Take a look at gold today. Better than that, take a look at silver. The gold silver ratio is 101 to 1 right now. Right? It's in nature, it's 16 to 1, right? Traditionally, it's supposed to run between like 20 and 30 to 1. It's 101 to 1 right now. If you got any extra cash laying around, go buy some silver. Okay. Let's see. Fix it. I don't know what you want me to fix. No lag. Fun with cars. Thank you. Strato says it sounds good. Good. All right. Much gooder. Yes, Michael, it's much, much gooder. What's the silver price per ounce? It was $30.80. No, let me see. I'm gonna tell you real quick. I've been paying attention to this here lately. Normally, I really don't watch the numbers because I don't care. But things are moving into another phase right now. So, oh yeah, gold's up $70 at $31.53. Silver is up 27 cents at $30.86. Boy, that is a spread. If you, I'm telling you, if you got any dry powder, go buy some silver. It's like $50 is there. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Rob Riley, I was looking at cars while driving. I kept saying disposable and everywhere I go. I do the same thing. No wrenching in this good weather. Well, this is part of wrenching, man. I mean, I make my money off of YouTube. I don't make my money off of wrenching. So it's like I have to get this stuff squared away first. Chevy Track commercial came out. I don't know which one that is. James Matthew, freeze on the back of, do I have to pull the head? To get at that one, yeah. There's just no way. If it's on an X-ray at least, it's smashed against the firewall. Like you got like an inch and a half between the firewall and the plug. Thoughts on Edison Motors? I don't know enough about. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but I never really looked into it enough to get an educated opinion. I mean, I've heard nothing but good stuff about Edison Motors and the products that they put out. But that's just what I've heard, and that's the extent of my understanding of it. Yes, zero. Mopar A-bodies forever. No, the only A-body left, I only have one A-body left, and it's that 64 Dark Mrs. Landy. And I'm where I'm sitting right now. I can look across and through the window, and I can actually see Mrs. Landy. That's the only A-body I have left. If you don't want to count Slaghammer, which isn't, I mean, it's an A-body, but it's not. Paradise Larry, nice to see you. You're a 67-year-old boomer born in 57. Gold and silver prices are controlled by those who don't own the big piles. They play the rest of us like fools. Have a great day. You're absolutely right. The silver especially is the most manipulated market that's ever been in the history of Earth. So is gold, but they're losing control. They're losing the grip on the deal. And I know people have been saying it now for 100 friggin' years, but it's really happening. See, David Morgan, I'm hoping a lot of parts companies move to other countries and we get some quality back. I agree. I don't mind paying extra for items that fit and last. Bro, the old saying is that if it lasts twice as long, it costs half as much, right? Think about it. So, but the thing is, when you buy something new, there's no guarantee. You pay the extra money, but there's no guarantee it's going to last that extra. So it's the gamble, and most of the time you're going to gamble on the side of, well, let's just take a shot with the cheap one. Especially if you've been around this stuff long enough and you realize you take the name brand or the factory part and replacement part out of the box, and you take the cheap Chinese white box thing out of the box, and it's like you put the two of them together and exactly the same thing. So everything is fraud these days. Donnie Diesel, what's happening? Tony, how would you approach making a daily driver work truck Cummins last for many years? I think you leave it alone. Maintain it. Just maintain it. Yeah, Sledgehammer is close enough. That poor car's been so neglected. We're gonna take out the Das Hindenburg is going out on. I was gonna take it out Friday. I had to order belts for it. I had no seatbelts. So rather than like pirate them out of another car, I ordered a set. They'll be here Saturday morning. So Saturday night, we're gonna take it over to Buffalo Valley. James Jennings. Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage is leaving you in the dust. Time to step up the game, Uncle Tony. Let me tell you something. I am the most hyper competitive person you will ever meet, right? I feel no competition from Jamie. I want to see Jamie. It's like I think of him as like my kid. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see him leave me in the dust. Jamie is the next generation. This whole thing belongs to Jamie and his generation. So by all means, I'm his biggest supporter. I'm his biggest fan. West Virginia reporting in. Dr. Dan, what's happening, brother? Let's see. Wheelie King is saying the Edison stuff makes perfect sense for long haul, basically off the rails locomotive engine. Yeah, that's how I understand it too. That's how I understand it too. Rob Riley, haven't driven Hindenburg with the new gears yet. Yes, I have. And she's actually pretty spicy. I got to tell you, it still has that, like, I'm going to explain to you. It's a different feel. The propane is a different feel. It still doesn't have the punch, like when you hit it, okay? It doesn't want to just like jump up and bang. But with the 486s, it's rolling out maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, and it just comes alive. I mean, very spicy, very spicy. So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen. Now, what I also noticed too is that it's pulling beyond what I thought it would, because it's only rated 460 CFM, and I figured, well, at that size engine, it's just going to hit a brick wall at $5,000. But it doesn't. It actually pulls beyond that. So now it's starting to make me rethink the difference between CFM as it applies to carburetor and CFM as it applies to a vapor system. I don't know. But that's the whole point of doing this, to learn. You know what I mean? I'm learning. Territory, are auto parts being tariffed? I thought they were exempting parts for tariffs as long as the cars were assembled in the U.S. Yes, that's exactly the case. Now, I don't know if, okay, so parts and assemblies that are imported for cars that are assembled here in the United States are not being tariffed. That doesn't necessarily mean that the parts that you get at the parts store aren't going to be tariffed. I don't know. They haven't made that like clear. Let's see. Bill H. Tony, great content. Did you know Vinny from Vitar? Vinny Tarantola. Yes. Yes, I did. It's amazing how many people I've known over the years. It's like I completely forgot about Vinny. He was a good guy. He was definitely a guy. I bought a lot of parts from him when I was a kid. And he helped me walk through the first transmission or two that I did. Answering my dumb questions. Let's see. Kevy's, I got you playing hooky at work. I'm playing hooky too. Tiny Diesel, do I believe in aftermarket fuel filter setups for modern diesel trucks? I mean, when it comes out, not just your application, right? But I always try to lean towards the factory engineered parts. I would imagine that if you need a larger capacity, bigger water separator, that sort of thing, then yeah, I mean, I would go with aftermarket, but I try to stick within the range of for things that you drive, not things that you necessarily hot rod or race or anything like that, but for things that you drive, I always err towards the factory engineered setups. Dave Bonds, sorry about the fat finger. Mine barely work at all. I've had a 68 Charger since 1999 and work at a restoration shop. I own 2 XJs, 2-door 4x4s. One is almost done. Love your work. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And enjoy those XJs. I literally just this morning we were talking to we wasn't talking, we were driving over. Our dogs take agility training, and we were on our way out to Elizabeth's place. Elizabeth, jump for joy agility. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, she's the only choice. And we were literally just talking about how I want to start picking up some XJs for investment purposes. Just put them off to the side. As long as they're complete, relatively stock, and relatively clean, I'm going to start buying them up and just put them on the side. They are money in the bank. Yada man, stop smoking. I did, bro. I quit smoking. I haven't smoked in months. It's a disgusting habit. I don't think anybody should do it. But yeah, I quit months ago, and I feel so much better. I feel so much better, and I don't taste like an ashtray. You know what I'm saying? So I recommend quitting smoking to everybody. It's a good idea. Dave Bonds, you're looking into agility for your dogs too. Well, I'm telling you, if you're in the Middle Tennessee area, right, Jump for Joy Agility. They're great people, just absolutely great people. My pups they have a blast. They love it. Winnie and Molly. The other three like they don't want to have anything to do with it. They just want to be fed and pet and lay around, right? But my two border collies, Winnie and Molly Jane, they love it. They absolutely love it. Vantech 22, Tony, great channel. Thank you, sir. Fellow boomer here, 1962. Converting a 76 corporate 9.25 open depth to short grip. Okay, trouble locating OEM. What's your opinion on Dana Spicer versus Detroit Brands Limited slip? I would lean towards the Dana Spicer stuff if you can. The weak point on the I'll tell you what, and when you're doing your research on it, the weak point on the 9.25 is the spiders. Everything else bulletproof. That's a really strong rear. It's the spiders that get you in trouble. So I would say whichever one is going to offer you a superior setup as far as that goes. I don't know. But like I said, I kind of lean towards Spicer stuff because I've never had bad luck with Spicer stuff. Territory, Tony, the Freedom car you talked about was basically VW Beetle and the Porsche 911. I don't know about the Porsche 911, but the VW Beetle, absolutely. And when so many years, very little changes, they perfected each platform. I agree. I didn't use the VW Beetle for a reason, because in these crazy times that we're in, right, you're going to have people like, yeah, of course, Nazis have you go in a Nazi car for Nazi people. So, I says, you know what? Let's just avoid these freaking idiots altogether. And I use the Corvair as my example. Domestic car, right? Nobody could hang any political nonsense on it. So that's why I use the Corvair. And I didn't use the K car. I noticed in the comments a lot of people were like, what about the K car? K car is the same thing, because out of that you got the minivans, you got the Rampage, you got all of those things. I agree. But the K car leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. People have this image of the K car as being like an underpowered box, where the Corvair had some style, it had some flash, it had, you know what I mean? So that's why I use the Corvair, right? For that example. But yes, there are many. And of course, you get your Ladas, which I've never actually had my hands on a Lada, but from what I understand about them, I'm a fan of Ladas, right? There's lots of examples of it. Wheelie King, you're talking about the 9.25. We put a lunchbox locker on a plow truck in the early 90s, beat the snot out of it, was reliable. Ed Rod, smart people don't smoke. Bro, you are so right. And that's why I don't smoke, because I consider myself to be smart. So that's why when I quit, I was like, not only did I quit, but I'm going to be more intelligent as I go forward. So yes, you're absolutely right. Danny Boy, 24-hour live stream. I tried that once. I ran out of voice of 11 hours. But to be fair, I had the Rona at the time too. Rob Riley, you've shared your timing for power videos with several people. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Mid-made muscle, a lot of are like the K car if Russian. Yes. Let's see. Marks to chill. I was happy when I found out Dodge was bringing out a gas-powered version of the new Charger. They've talked about that since the very beginning. To be fair to Stellantis and that crew, let me finish reading that. They're sitting on a gold mine. Imagine if they went full retro and gas-powered, people would love it too. So yeah, they talked about that. Okay, so from the very beginning, they talked about the 6-pack, which is the Hurricane 6. But the Hurricane 6 is having its own set of issues. So, you know what I mean? It's a high-strung motor. It's like when they first started talking about it, they're like, yes, it's the American 2JZ. It's going to smoke the universe. And no, it's having issues. The people who work with these things don't like them. It's a high-strung motor. It's not with a lot of plastic and shit like that. I don't have a lot of hope for the Hurricane. According to TJ's Garage, and I follow the late model stuff basically through his channel. The Hemi's coming back. The Hemi's coming back in a lot of different incarnations. So the Hemi will probably, and there was speculation at first whether the Hemi would fit in the new Charger. That they would have to spread the strut towers 2 inches to fit a Hemi, but evidently that's not the case. Evidently a Hemi will fit in there. So I don't know. I would be very happy to see that. Sean A806. I think the Achilles heel of the Chrysler K car was a timing belt. Everything had a timing belt during that period of time. Like everything. Obviously not traditional V8s, but it wasn't unusual. People, when the timing belt broke, people would just walk away because they didn't value the cars. They were really throwaway cars. Let's see. Rob Riley, we're top fuel motors in the 70s, like 3,500 to 4,000 horse, now to 12,000. Top fuel motors in the 70s were in the 2,000, 2,500 horse range. They reached like a 4,000 to 5,000 horsepower plateau around 1985, 1986 with the dual mag and the dual pump. Because you just couldn't get enough fuel volume to the motors in the old days. You used to take those pumps, like the Enderley 1200s, and spin them like 35 over. And at that point, the pump was just not efficient. So once they were able to start doubling up the pumps and then light it with the second mag, that's when you sort of the jump from 2,500, 2,000, 2,500 to 4,500, 5,500. And that's when I got involved in it. And then from that point on, it's just been bigger, more pumps, more mag, bigger, and now it's 12,000 horsepower. But the motors themselves have the basic technology has not changed. Let's see. Ed Rod, my 99 XJ is a 2.5 engine, 5-speed manual. What's the value? Should I equip it? I own since 2013. Dude, I don't know I couldn't tell you what the value is. The value is definitely on its way up across the whole XJ line. The 4-cylinder is worth a little bit less. The manual transmission is worth a little bit more. So just hold on to it and enjoy it and love on that thing and understand that the whole world is starting to appreciate vehicles from that era and specifically those things. So XJs, I'm telling you, they're gold. They're gold. Paradise Larry, I love your affection for Jeeps. I don't have affection for Jeeps. Hang on a second. I'll get to that in a second. I own a 2001 4x4 in New England winters. That truck walked through anything, one of my favorite vehicles ever. I'm totally not a Jeep guy. Totally not a Jeep guy. I'm an XJ guy. There's a big difference. You know what I mean? I have no interest in Wranglers and stuff like that. Nothing. Zero. Okay. But the XJ all by itself, just that one vehicle, the XJ, and I said it in a video, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I stand behind it. The XJ is mankind's greatest achievement. The end. Okay. This is just nothing. The XJ is the pinnacle of what we as a species accrued to that point. And it's been all downhill ever since. The XJ is mankind's greatest achievement. Andrew Justice, 421 Nailhead in an S10. Can't get rear end stiff enough. got a lot of bouncing around there, huh, man? That's because you're unleashing a lot of torque. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any specific S10 suspension. Um, I just don't. But I love the 421 in there, man. With a nailhead, that's bitching. Um, Josh Homan, 1980s cars were basically transportation appliances. That anyone calls them classics is beyond me. You know, hindsight is 2020, okay? Because in the 1980s, we were looking at those cars and we were saying, what pieces of shit, okay? We had no regard for the cars, the new cars as they were coming out in the 1980s until the 5 liter, until the Grand National. That changed things a lot. But no, in hindsight, they are classics and they're built to last. They live in today's environment just perfectly. They're completely survivable. They're repairable. They're fun. They make power. They can make a lot of power. No, 1980s cars are definitely cool. Um, zero XA, no rubber ducks, right? Zero ducks given. Danny Boy, the 8.8 will survive the nailhead too. Yeah, it'll survive until you put a lot of like weird shock load into it. You get like a lot of axle hop, and then it's like crazy shock load into it, and it'll break anything. So one for the road. Shit must be a flux capacitor in here with me. How else can I explain watching UTG live at 1:30 p.m.? I was not going to do a live. This was a test. I just wanted to do a test because I just got this laptop right here, and I'm trying to get the sound and the camera and everything working. And all of a sudden, boom, people popped in. So I'm hanging out for a little while. Mark's to chill thoughts on the Dodge Magnum engine. I'm assuming you mean the 5.2 and the 5.9 Magnum, and not the engine that came in Dodge Magnums. Not necessarily the same thing. The Magnum is the last incarnation of the A motor, which its lineage goes back to 1855. The A motor, then the LA motor, and then the Magnum. The Magnum is the ultimate incarnation of the small block Mopar. There's no downside to those motors. There's nothing negative about those motors. They're fantastic. Chrissy, opinions on TBI Chevy engines. Throttle body injection is weak. You would probably, if you've got a TBI setup, you're probably better off switching to a carburetor. If that's a quadrijet will give you better overall performance than a TBI setup. That's not the same as a TPI setup, because once you get into two-port multi-port injection, it's a whole different story. And yes, it is better than a carburetor in a lot of ways. But throttle body, how can I explain it to you? It's a compromise. It's an electronic carburetor, and a carburetor works better than an electronic version of itself. But port injection, that's a whole different setup. It's a whole different story. Sean 8806, throttle body injection is essentially a computerized carburetor if you really think about it. Yes and no. All right. And so here's the thing, right? So you're taking away the vacuum and velocity aspect of the carburetor by going to a throttle body. All right. So now you're pressurizing the fuel and forcing it through a nozzle as opposed to sucking the fuel through an orifice into the stream. The TBI doesn't drop the temperature of fuel. It maintains the temperature of fuel. You don't get the same thing. There's the shear effect as fuel is being pulled into the airstream on a carburetor. It drops the temperature. You don't get that when you're pressurizing it through a nozzle. So in that respect, it's not a computerized carburetor. But the way it functions and the way it has to feed into a common plenum and be run through the intake manifold runners, in that respect, it's very much like a carburetor. So it's an in-between thing. It's an in-between thing. Hey, Remy, hello from Ireland. What's happening, man? Oh, we got people from all over the world. That's so freaking awesome. Kim, what's happening, Kim? I saw Buff the other night. Did you guys go live after I Sunday night? Yeah, test stream. Yeah, it's working. Kim, I jumped on here real quick. I was just like, okay, let me make sure the camera's working. Let me make sure the microphone's working because I got to do the live with Dr. R tonight. So I said, I'll just do a quick test stream, and then a bunch of people popped in, so I figured I'd hang out with you guys for a little bit. Anthony Calvario. Tony, I have a 426 Hemi that has an SPX cast into the block where the famous regular X would be. What are your thoughts? I've never seen before. No. SPX. I've never seen that. The X just means that the casting has been stress relieved, right? X heads, same thing. It just means the casting has been stress relieved. But no, I've never seen. I can't ever recall seeing SPX cast into the side. Kim, you had a good stream. Excellent. Okay. War Ghost, Tony, talk about how overrated LS swapping a old Mopar is. People are going to do it regardless of my opinion on it. It's a project that's nowhere near as easy, cheap, or reliable with all of the Chinese parts you need. People make it like the LS. People are just they're LS crazy. It's just in their head, and they want to put LSs and everything. And I don't blame them. It's if my loyalty was to like if I was an LS guy, yeah, I would want to stick an LS in anything I possibly could, especially like in a Mopar because it's like you got Mopar guys, right? Look at my LS, right? So yeah, if I was an LS guy, I would be swapping into anything I could swap them into. But inch for inch, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, you go back to the guy who was just asking about the Magnum. You can't beat a Magnum into a late Mopar. There's nothing you're going to get out of an LS that you're not going to get out of a Magnum. Now, I know the LS is going to be a couple of pounds lighter. I get that, but no, you're not going to. It's not you're not going to make more power. It's not going to be more reliable. It'll be 75 pounds heavier, or thereabouts. But people just love this stuff. Let's see. When I build a Homer Simpson, I don't know what a Homer Simpson car is. West builds four-wheel drum brakes on a 63 Thunderbird suck. You probably just don't have them set right. You've probably if you've got an original car that's four-wheel drum brakes, something like a Thunderbird, which should have a premium braking system to begin with, because it's a heavier car, so it's going to have the bigger drums, it's going to have the bigger shoes, wider shoes. If they suck, I'm telling you right now, if they suck, you're going to have a bad wheel cylinder or two, right? Because when wheel cylinder goes bad, it's only going to operate one half of the braking system. Or you've got a collapsed hose. The hose that goes, I did a whole video on this, the hose that goes between the body of the car and the rear axle, after 15, 20 years, they clog solid. They collapse internally. So when you're stepping on the brakes, you're only getting the front brakes. I guarantee if you just make the blanket statement that the four-wheel drum brakes suck in your 63 Thunderbird, I am telling you, you have a flaw in there someplace. And it's probably a bad wheel cylinder or a collapsed hose. Warwick Hamwood, what's the story with the carb on a 400 Mopar with less compression than the high compression of a 3D3? Something doesn't add up. I don't know what you mean by Warwick. The 400s, the four barrels came with 800 CFM thermoquads. So the 1970 71 3D3, they used Holly carburetors, and they weren't even 600 CFM. They were only what were they rated at? 585 CFM, rounded off 600 CFM. When they went to the 400, they went to the thermoquad, which they had done the year before on the 340. 1971 340 got a thermoquad. 72, the 400 got the same thermoquad, and it's 800 CFM. Let's see. JP1 special. JP1 is in Joe Pisano. I had one of those. New PC working good. Audio is great. Thanks for making the afternoon interesting. Well, thank you, sir. Dr. Art. Yes, Dr. Art. No, dude, I got a new laptop because we were having all the problems last week. So I picked up a new laptop and I just wanted to make sure that the camera was working and the mic was working and everything was going to be good for us, for you. I did this for you, Dr. Art. And yeah, it's good. So I just popped on a quick test stream. And next thing I know, there's like 30 people in here. So I says, all right, I'll hang out for a while. Paradise Larry, to clarify my earlier point, my Jeep was a 2001 Cherokee. Okay, yeah, which is the epitome of the XJ. You have not driven an XJ till you've driven the Cherokee 4x4. Love you, Tony. I have a 2000 that's a two-wheel drive. In my opinion, the 97, 98, 99, that clump right there are the best of the best. Okay, the best of the best. 97, 98, 99. Those are the golden years. Okay, and then 2000, they went to the distributorless ignition. They don't run quite as well. They don't get quite the same gas mileage as the older ones. I know because I drive them back to back, so I can tell you, like, I mean, literally, when I say drive them back to back, I mean I drive a 2000 to the house and drive a 99 back, so I can tell you exactly. And they also have a weak cylinder head. They're known to crack the cylinder head on the 2000 and 2001s. So, and I'm not throwing shade on the 2000 and 2001s, but the 97 through 99, they perfected it. They got everything dead nuts perfect. If you're looking for the ultimate XJ, 97 through 99 is the deal. Firefly video check confirmed. You were clear to open fire. I'm just gonna hang out for a little while longer, guys. I really wasn't expecting this. I gotta get something to eat. Sticks. Oh my God, these commercials. God forbid I get paid. Oh my God. Scuzzy, you ever get your hands on an 86 to 92 Comanche? I have not. From what I can tell, it's just a truck form of the X-Ray. We'd love to find one. Yes, that's exactly what a Comanche is. It's a pickup truck X-Ray. But no, I've never gotten my hands on one. I don't have anything to smoke. I'm having a okay. Let's see if there's anything in the ashtray. No. I'm looking for something in the ashtray I can revive. My tobacco's in the other room. Mexican food? Yeah, probably. I've become, that's all I eat anymore. This is Mexican food. I've decided that I mean, that's my default now. I go to Mexican food. Blue collar worker. I can't wait to see Jamie's wheelie truck. That's going to be an interesting when it gets said to the 273 is put together right now. I really want to see how that thing's going to go. He's got a lot of very interesting, very good projects. Joe K, it was just a test stream, man. I didn't expect to be on for any amount of time. Mexican spec, yeah, YouTube. Rob Riley, how's Ducky's Impala coming? Oh, geez. Ducky's a difficult one to drag down. He texted me the other day. He says, I got the block here. I'm ready to bring it over. And I was nowhere near the shop. I know I haven't heard from him since. Oh, Ducky's hard to nail down. Still live tonight? Yes, we'll be live. I can't talk. We'll be live with Dr. Art at 7 o'clock Central Time. Firefly, go back to work. Yeah, I know, me too. I really should not have jumped on here, but I needed to see if the stuff was going to work. Warwick Hammond. So a late model 383 got the Holly 600-ish CFM, but the 400 gets an 800 CFM thermal. Yes, I still find this hard to understand. Why? I don't know. I'm Warwick. Why? Okay, I'm not understanding why you're having a problem with this. Why do you? I don't get it. Step away and get you smoke. You can wait. Yes, Larry. Hang on. I should not have gone into the shop because I just saw all of the things that I need to get done. I'm gonna hide here for the rest of the day. Gary Overflow, look, you're hosting Masterpiece Theater. Yes, isn't that nice? Loud pipe saves lives. The Freedom Car, yeah, that's a very important thing he's saying here. The Freedom Car needs a two-piece dashboard that's easily removable so you can replace heater cores and evaporator cores with little effort. And that is exactly why I said that the car needs to be designed around a committee, a focus group, a committee of seasoned mechanics. Because we would come up with stuff like that. You know, we would say, yes, this is important for serviceability. You need to be able to access this. So here, make this half of the dashboard just pop right off. There's no reason they can't do that. So yes, that's exactly why I would want in a theoretical car that the idea that we throw out there, that the first people to throw their 2 cents in is a group of seasoned, independent mechanics, because they know the failure points, they know the difficulties, they live with this stuff. So they would be the first person to throw their 2 cents in, and then everybody else after that. Can't live stream all day if you don't start in the morning. It was an accident, man. Futura hardtop. Thoughts on 4 2 barrels? You mean like the old mana-free manifolds? That was the thing. That was okay. There was a time when you could only get very small 4-barrel carburetors. Where a 600 CFM 4-barrel was a big deal. And that's why they were going with like tri-power setups and whatnot. So the 4 2-barrel is just another step in that direction, but really obsolete. Like really obsolete. You run into all sorts of fuel metering issues with that. And it's the same reason why ultimately, to a point, you're better off with a single 4-barrel than 2 4-barrels. But the 4 2-barrels it's a cool novelty, but that's really ancient, technology. Roscoe Odyssey, make cars mechanical again. I agree. To that point, I saw a video yesterday. I saw a video last night that I doing a video. I was going to actually shoot the video today, but I got too many things going on. I'm going to shoot it tomorrow morning. I saw a video last night that totally reinforces everything that I've been saying about runaway technology and how certain things are just not repairable. And even when it comes to things like late model chargers, even something as straightforward and as simple as a late model charger. I came across a video yesterday. I had to watch it twice to really absorb what was being said. But it's over the top, and it's an indication of where this whole thing is heading. So I'm going to do a video on that. I try not to do that type of video back to back. I try to fit some like hands-on shit in between, or but no, there's crazy stuff happening. Rob Bradley, a single 4-wheel can make as much power or more than dual quads in some cases. Yes, the main benefit with dual quads is even distribution over the engine, over the length of the engine. Because a single 4-barrel is still, no matter what you do, a single 4-barrel is still going to be centrally located, and it's still going to bias the center ports as opposed to the outer ports. There's always going to be a balancing act, okay? Things are going to be stealing in the plenum. And then especially that's what again, it's like firing order splits and stuff like that, because 5 and 7 are always pulling the heavier parts of the mixture towards that side of the plenum. So that's one of the issues that you have with a single 4-barrel once you get into higher performance things. Dual 4-barrel, basically you're placing a barrel on top of each runner, so there's less steeling that goes on. So that's the only benefit that a dual quad setup would have over a single 4-barrel. Stephen S. Paul, early 60s Lincolns could be found with the small 450 CFM carburetors. Yes. Edward, where do you go to drag race the XJ? We've been going to Etheridge. That's my new favorite track. I love that place. We're going to take it to Etheridge. They have test and tunes on Friday nights, and you can usually get in there. I mean, like we've been there on test and tune nights when there's like maybe 30 cars, and you could just hot lap it. You could work on the stuff in the staging lanes. Etheridge is a great track. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's right off of 43 in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. It's about 75 miles from here, and also Buffalo Valley, which is we're going to go on Saturday night. The only problem with Buffalo Valley is it's uphill. So whatever numbers you get at Buffalo Valley are going to be 0.2 of a second slower than you're going to get at any of the level tracks. And also, you can't run a stick shift. Very, very hard to run anything with a stick shift at Buffalo Valley because the starting line is on an angle. So it's like the tree starts to come down, and you got to like be playing with the clutch to hold the car in place. It'll catch you off guard. Brain, love you from Texas. Love you back, brother, man. Thank you. Zero just put up a link to a playlist, but I don't know what that playlist is for. Thank you, Zero. Let's see, almost an hour ago. Oh my God, it went on for 47 minutes. I totally wasn't expecting that. Let's see. Thumper is saying that's messed up. I got an error on my PC, but the stream is playing on my TV, no problem. All right. Well, I mean, as long as it's not freezing up and the picture is okay and the sound is okay, then my work here is complete. For you guys who are just joining now, I had no intention of going live. I was just trying to make sure that this new laptop that I have was going to work with everything. So I said, well, I'll do a 2-minute test live, and as soon as somebody pops in, I'll know if it's working or not. And then next thing I know, there's like 30, 40, 50. I think I got 160 people in there. Paradise, hey, I know you are crazy. Where'd you hear that, man? This is the rumor. I know you've been around everything. I have. Please be even more than you already being around propane. Propane has no master. Watching your videos brings me back to my first cars. Dude, I wrestled with the bitch goddess Nitro for a dozen years. That was my whole friggin' Nitro, right? So this propane thing, man, it's like it's it's a little weird. It's a little weird. And I'm not used to a gas, right? So it's like, but it's cool. Kresk is saying the live stream is working just fine on a tablet and Roku TV. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Ben from Long Island, New York. What's the first thing you're going to do when we finally get you back to the shop? Dude, I'm in the shop. This is the back room of the shop. Like everything is 10 feet away. D-Man 216, I say convert the car to run on E85. Not into it. I like look, here's what I like, okay? I like pump gas. All right. Anywhere, anytime, any pump, Okay, anywhere on Earth, right? I like that. I like that. If I can't have that or beyond that, I like nitromethane because, in my opinion, everything else is bullshit. Okay, pump gas because it's the default setting. Okay, and then nitromethane because it works better than anything and everything else. So anything between pump gas and nitromethane is just beating your dick against the urinal. It's a waste of time. Okay, but propane is different. It's completely different. It's out of that range. And so that's why I'm interested in it. And I'm curious to see what propane will do with nitromethane because it's one of the things that I've got in my mind that I'd like to try. I'd like to, once I get this thing worked out and I understand it, and I have a different intake manifold on it, because I just use a stock intake manifold to get started with. I would like to start introducing small amounts of nitromethane, liquid nitro, to the thing and see what happens. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. First, I want to make the car function and be predictable and understand what propane wants. And then we'll go to the next step. What are those things on the shelf behind you? They're not really shelves. It's just paper. It's just paper. Sticks is saying I switch over to propane for high altitude driving. If the background is real, I'm sitting on the floor now. Bumper is saying pump gas is too spendy here. Premium is still over $4 and 87 is $3.20. But my homemade ethanol is dirt cheap. Yeah, okay, yes, homemade ethanol is fine. That's different. You know what I mean? That's not the same. That's not the same. Let's see. You Jordan saying it's $2.95 there for 87 octane. I just filled up on 87 octane. I overpaid for it. I because we were coming back from a dog place and I needed gas, so I paid $2.66 an hour ago, 2 hours ago. But it's $2.45 here in town. Danny Boy, looks like what Tony should be saying is when E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. Dude, do you realize how old we are? For you to say that and for me to recognize what that is, because those commercials. Dr. Butcher, nitro and propane isn't new. People have been using that for a long time. You got me, bro. I've never heard of that. Paradise Library, what is nitrous compared to propane? Does nitrous have a proactive odor? No, nitrous is completely different. Nitrous oxide is not a fuel. It doesn't burn. If you only put nitrous oxide into your engine, it would never start. Okay. What nitrous oxide does is as soon as when it boils away, right? As soon as it's released to the atmosphere, it separates into its two parts, nitrogen and oxygen. Okay. And the oxygen allows you to burn more fuel. So nitrous oxide is not a fuel. It's an aid to allow you to burn more fuel. And then the nitrogen cools everything. The nitrogen produces a cooling barrier around, let's say, the cylinder walls of valves and whatnot. So it drops the temperature, and then the oxygen allows you to burn more fuel volume. So where propane is a fuel, propane burns. Now, nitromethane is actually made from was propane or natural gas? I think they make it from both. No, nitromethane. There's nitropropane and there's nitromethane. Nitromethane is made from methane gas that's heated to I forget what the temperature is in an environment of ammonia. And then what condenses is nitromethane. Okay, and then there's nitropropane. They do the same thing. They heat the propane in an ammonia atmosphere, and what condenses is nitropropane. There's also nitrobutane, which is another fuel. Actually, in 1975, 1976, 1977, there was a fellow named Barry Setzer that ran cars out of North Carolina, and he was running his cars on nitrobutane. And at the time, he was running exactly with the nitromethane cars, and there was no back then there was no prohibitions against using other fuels. You couldn't use exciters like hydrazine, let's say, but you could use nitro. There's nitropropane, nitroethane, nitrobenzene, nitro, all these different nitros. And the Barry Setzer car was running on nitrobutane. Yes, Barry Setzer, funny car. Linda V loves the channel. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Sergeant Mustang, are there any hydrocarbon fuel, liquid or gas, that you think would be superior to gasoline? No. No, gasoline works because it works. Gasoline works because it has a dual nature once it enters the combustion chamber, which very other fuels have, right? Because gasoline enters the combustion chamber as both a vapor and an atomized mixture, right? And because of that, the vapor makes an easy ignition off the spark plug, and then the atomized parts of it extend the duration of burn. So it's one of those few fuels. It's probably the only. Well, ethanol, alcohol is similar, right? But you get more vapor out of ethanol. That's why you have to use so much more volume. Like for instance, between gasoline and ethanol, you've got to double the amount of ethanol to make the equivalent power. And that's because ethanol turns to vapor. Almost all of it turns to vapor. So if you put the same amount of ethanol as you do gasoline, it's gone in a flash. But if you double up the amount of ethanol to make the equivalent horsepower, you've got enough in there. There's liquid involved in that also, and it's enough to extend the burn. Although Thumper is an expert on this, and he could throw his opinion in there, and I would recommend, if you're interested, read what he has to say. Paul Menton with a dual spark plug engine help. There was a Ford mini truck engine that had two plugs. The only thing that the dual plug does is it allows you to use less initial timing. So like for instance, if the motor is operating optimally at 34 degrees with a single plug, the dual plug would probably give you that same result in around ballpark 30 degrees. Because instead of the flame front having to travel across the real estate of the piston head and the combustion chamber, it's started in two places. So it doesn't have to travel all the way across. That's the only benefit to dual plug. Okay, Thumper is saying ethanol. Yes, thank you, sir. Ethanol is only 30% more at most, not twice as much. That's methanol. Yeah, thank you. The reason you run more ethanol is that it has a lot more oxygen than gasoline. Okay. Well, gasoline doesn't have any oxygen. Sergeant Mustang. I've met people who think premium is just better for unspecified reasons. Yeah, well. Guys, it's an hour. I've been hanging out for an hour. I wasn't supposed to be online on this thing at all. You, Jordan, dual plugs also on my local garage to charge 600. Well, okay, that's the other thing too. There is an emissions advantage to the dual plug. I can't explain that, but there is an advantage to it. All right. So guys, I'm gonna pull the plug now. I'm gonna be back. I gotta eat something, and I got a mess. You have no idea the mess I got here. And I got the 3D3. I dug it out of the pole barn, and it's hanging off the back of my wrecker right now. So we're gonna do a tear down on that. It's something I wanted to get to today, but it's not gonna happen. Um, so I'm gonna be on tonight at 7 o'clock with Dr. Art. So, guys, thank you for popping in. This was totally unexpected, but I genuinely do enjoy spending time with you guys. So thank you for being here. And that's it. I test successful. I'll see you guys tonight.